Hello, everyone. Welcome to another Cosmic Circus review. I'm Vin, and with me, as always, is John Dawson.
Hello.
Today, we're doing Terminator Zero. It's a very appropriate title because this 8-episode Netflix anime is about the rise of Skynet. It's making it a prequel before the Terminator movies began. So before Terminator 2, T2, before T1, this is T0, Terminator Zero. Written and developed by showrunner Mattson Tomlin. It was directed by Masashi Kudō. It's starring Timothy Olyphant as the Terminator and the English dub. John, do you know anything about Mattson Tomlin? Do you know anything about his writing resume? Or
I do not. I do not.
okay,
You might have to tell me.
This guy is kind of fascinating. He was like a nobody until 2019 when he got hired to work on the Batman. Then he did rewrites on the Batman, and his career has exploded since then. He's done everything from Batman comics to his own original work. He's doing a Mega Man movie, like live action Mega Man. He's done all kinds of stuff, and it all started
doing Mega Man.
Mega Man, yeah. And this guy is doing everything from like dark fantasy, sci-fi, horror. Really, he's exploding all over Hollywood, and it all started with the Batman. Really interesting career. Great guy to watch, I think. And then, on that note, John, before we talk about T0, can you tell me, what is your history with Terminator?
With Terminator, I'm probably the same as you. I mean, like, we grew up on these films.
I didn't.
You did not?
No.
Were you under a rock?
Yes, sir. Keep going.
So the first movie I watched was Terminator 2.
Mm-hmm.
And I actually watched it way too young.
How old?
6, 7. Like I loved it. I loved it. There were moments in the film that terrified me. Like for example, there's one moment where the girl that plays, she's also in Aliens as what's her name? She played the Latino character in Aliens.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm talking about?
Oh, Vasquez.
She played
Jeanette
Vasquez.
Goldstein?
So the part where she's like in the kitchen, and the dad comes in there talking smack to the dog, and the hand goes whoosh and like goes straight to the guy's mouth. That traumatized me as a child.
Okay.
Like, you know what I'm talking about? The liquid metal part where it goes to the mouth?
Yeah.
Traumatized me, but I love that movie. I love it. Like, Arnold Schwarzenegger in Terminator 2 is kind of like a superhero.
Really, he is.
He really is. Yeah. Protecting a child, it's like every kid's fantasy to have this robot that's like protecting them.
Mm-hmm.
You know? So that was the first one I watched, and I think like years later I watched T1.
Okay.
You know, like at an early age, and I was too young to appreciate it because I'm like, bad visual effects. You know, like I was just snobby little kid, you know?
Man, that's sad.
You know, but like when you get older, you understand like what year came out, like how it like was a low budget horror film.
Mm-hmm. But you don't appreciate that when you're a kid.
Terminator is one of the many reasons that I am a movie lover.
Wow.
Why I'm a big fan of sci-fi.
Mm-hmm.
It was like the precursor to the Matrix.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it was like the Matrix was like what knocked it down for me for being a sci-fi lover, but this was like the beginning. It was like my blade before the MCU. You know?
Yeah, I understand.
It got me involved in like that kind of genre.
Wow.
And I love the Terminator franchise. But kind of like Aliens, I don't want to talk about 3 and 4 and 5 and however many.
Who knows? Yeah. For me, I guess my story would be like Superman the movie, the Batman movies. That was my like. I watched and Star Wars, and I watched those when I was before. I was like, I had to be like 1, 2, 3. I watched them all the time on VHS. Back to the Future, Superman, Batman. I watched those all the time. That was my like hook. I didn't get the Terminator, like Alien. I didn't get the Terminator until I was like 18.
Oh man.
Yeah, but I was the perfect age then, 18. I appreciated everything about it. I love the first Terminator. Um, Terminator 2, I appreciated a lot, especially the effects, but I feel like it's a little bigger. And the first Terminator, I love how small it is, how tight it is. It's like 90-minute, like relentless action, but there's so much heart and the great VFX. I love that first Terminator movie.
But it's such a brilliant sequel. It's so
It's a good
brilliant.
sequel, yeah, but it's like Alien and Aliens, and I just prefer the tight first one.
The reason why I say it's brilliant is that it is James Cameron taking things and understanding how to expand the world, make it feel larger,
Mhm.
to make it feel like I mean, dude, they don't make original blockbusters like that anymore.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, they don't. It is so rich.
Twisters?
No, no, no.
That's not
And
the sequel you want.
it is very rare to get such a rich,
Yeah.
thematic blockbuster that's got so much depth, heart, and spectacle. Story and spectacle in a match. It is such a perfect balance of both. I love T2. Love T2 so
Can I ask you
much.
something? Have you ever seen The Bride of Frankenstein?
I have not, no.
Okay.
I have not.
Have you seen the original Frankenstein?
It's been a long time, but yes, I've
Okay.
seen it. I've
Okay.
seen
So
it.
Bride of Frankenstein, in my opinion, is the first sequel to do what you're talking about. And it's really
Yeah.
worth watching for that, to see how it takes the original concept of Frankenstein, takes that first novel, takes the first movie, but then it goes like 10 steps further with it.
Right.
It's such a brilliant sequel. And I'm pretty sure it's totally original. It's not based on the book. It's all new territory. And that's, if I recall, 1935. And
Long time
that
ago.
but those are the footsteps that James Cameron is walking in when he did Aliens, when he did T2. He is
Yes.
continuing that great legacy, which so many people struggle with. Even Marvel, they do all these sequels, but how often do they do a sequel like this, like
They
T2,
don't. They don't.
where they
It
like
never feels
blow
more
it open,
expensive.
make it
Yeah. It never feels more expensive. It never feels more rich in character. And I honestly believe that kind of like Aliens, kind of,
Mhm.
it didn't really need to be that big of a franchise.
Mhm.
It kind
For
of
sure.
probably should have stopped at number 2. You know, kind of like Aliens, probably should have stopped at number 2. But like, I mean, I like Romulans. Don't get me wrong. But I don't think it really required to be a
Yeah.
franchise.
So hold
You
on
know,
that Romulus note. Do you think that they should do a Terminator movie in the vein of Romulus? Should they Force Awakens the Terminator?
nah, no,
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 no. I agree. I agree.
no,
I agree. They
no. I
shouldn't.
don't think so. I
Yeah.
don't think so. I think if James Cameron doesn't direct it, they don't need to do it. Period.
Okay.
And he's not going to direct it. He's making 20 Avatar sequels for the rest of his life. So it's
Not even
never.
20. He's just making like 3 more. That's it.
That's still
Just
going
3.
to take about 3 decades, you know?
It'll take 3 decades for 3 movies.
And,
Our
and he'll be,
grandchildren will finish the series.
and he will die like by the time it's all done. So
His AI will finish it. His Skynet
yeah.
AI will finish it.
But yeah,
Okay.
now he did say before we go on to the new
Yes. Yeah.
Zero, what I do find fascinating, there was an interview very recently about Terminator, and he said that if he were going to come back, and he said he might get involved in it again,
Mhm.
that if he were going to come back,
Mhm.
he would take the now and day AI
Mhm.
problems that we're having right now
Mhm.
and incorporate that into a story where something uses AI
Mhm.
to instead of like nuclear bomb everybody, use the AI to make the world fold in on itself.
Do you think that's kind of what T0 is trying to do?
I don't think so. No,
Okay.
I don't think so.
Okay.
I have thoughts on T0, but no, I don't think so. T0, I think, is the Matrix Reloaded of
Sure.
Terminator sequels. It
Is this
is
a
more.
positive or negative comparison?
It depends on how you view it,
Okay,
right?
this will be a good conversation.
Depends on how you view it. I think T0's got a lot of high highs and a lot of
Okay.
low lows.
Okay. Okay.
You know, like when they're high, they are very high. kind of like the Matrix Reloaded. When it goes high, it goes really high. But the lows in Matrix Reloaded also go low.
I really like this Matrix comparison. For me, I thought about what I love about the first Matrix and how it builds. In some ways, it builds on the philosophies of Terminator, I think.
That's
And
what
this
I'm
movie,
saying. It's philosophy. It's the
yes,
philosophy of it.
and Terminator Zero really tries to be philosophical. I never thought it was as deep as it was trying to be. And I think one of the big problems I have with Terminator Zero is it doesn't have the heart. In my opinion, it doesn't have the same heart that the first Terminator movie had, where like I really care about the characters at the center of it. So I don't know why I'm starting with my negatives, but I felt kind of this was the real Matrix comparison I want to make really quick. I thought it felt like the Animatrix. Have you seen that?
He does fall at the Animatrix. He
But
does.
the Animatrix works because they're short. This feels like an Animatrix short. You know, the rise of the robots, but dragged out to what is this 4 hours? And like I get the idea. I didn't need 4 hours of this. I get the idea. I've seen the Animatrix too. I don't need 4 hours of this, in my opinion. Yeah, John.
But you know, and because it's dragged out to 4 hours, there's a lot of loose change that could have been removed. Okay, it's not a spoiler, but like in the beginning, like there's a part the show opens up with like a chase from a Terminator, and there's a part where like it made no sense to me at all. The robot is hanging off her leg, and the only thing that I could think at that moment was, why doesn't that robot just squeeze the heck out of her foot? Like right there. Like it's got a hold, but no, it gets free, falls, all that stuff. There's like random moments that don't quite make sense logistically. Like how would a T-800 that weighs that much hang up a human like that?
Do you want to start analyzing the physics of Terminator? Is that what we're doing?
I'm just saying it doesn't, like, you know, I'm just saying there's things like that.
Yeah.
But what I do think is good in this show is that, okay, I've been thinking about how to talk about this. I want to get personal for a minute, if you don't mind. My father passed in like April, and around the time that he died, I got a little existential. You know, so I started thinking about what does everything mean? Like what is consciousness? Like where like what happens when we go, things like that. Like, you know, it just like it I've I've had people die, but I've never had that thought. Like that go deep in that. Like what happens whenever this whole thing just like ends? You know? I think this show like this might be just my analytical side of it, but it feels like somebody trying to process their thoughts about fate, determinism, how life plays out. Like there's so many conversations about what will be, what will not be, how things are going to shape out, how will the future unfold. The old one did that too, but I don't feel like they have the conversation as strong as this show does. Because this one is more heavy into it about what will happen, what will be, what does it mean if things don't change. One of the things that I found whenever, like, you know, my dad passed, I finally understood the theory of relativity.
Okay.
Do you know what that means? Okay, so somebody broke it down, right? Now, I don't know if they're correct, but they talked about that the theory of relativity is kind of like you're in a movie theater, right?
Okay.
Every room that you're in, like every theater, has got a moment in your life playing. You go to theater one. Theater one is when you're like being born. You know, theater two, you're like a kid. Theater 3,
Mhm.
and they're all playing at the same time.
Mhm.
So basically, the theory of relativity is everything is happening at once.
Okay.
You're alive right now. We're in the present right now. You're also dying right now,
Mhm.
all at the same time. And I feel like this show discusses things like that a lot. I don't know if it makes complete sense, but I do think it's unpacking that conversation in various areas.
Yes. Okay. So continuing that, because I was thinking about that too. I think that puts it in conversation with Terminator 1. Also, like you said, with Matrix 2.
Yeah,
Matrix
but
2
Matrix 2,
continues
yes. Yeah,
choice versus causality, right?
right.
With the Merovingian. Um, my issue with Terminator Zero is I feel it's a lot of just talking about it. My feeling watching it was from what they're showing us, it feels like this destination is inevitable. No matter what choices we make, we will always lead to Terminator One and that version of Skynet. So for me, it felt like a lot of talk. They're talking and trying to philosophize, but we already know the outcome. So it falls flat for me. It didn't feel like it was meaningful to me. It felt like it was just talking, talking, talking. And sure, it's kind of interesting, but it was just talking. I didn't feel that it was telling me, show versus tell. I didn't feel that it was showing me that.
So you don't think it's satisfying like the discussion of
No,
them?
no. For
No,
me,
gotcha.
it felt, I called it pseudo philosophy. It feels like it's trying to be interesting, but it's just like conversations you have late at night. But I can have those conversations on my own. It doesn't feel like it has something profound to tell me that the first movie didn't already show. The first movie shows you the impact of destiny and the impact of choice. It shows you that and you feel it, and that's the emotional crux of it. But
Yeah,
this movie,
it doesn't land it completely. I'll admit to that.
Mhm.
That's why I was saying, like, even the Matrix Reloaded, I don't think lands it completely, but kind of like the Matrix Reloaded, I still appreciate that it
Okay.
was trying to do something different. Well, I mean, like, in some ways, it was trying to get to a nugget
Mhm.
of interesting conversation. Whether it fulfills that desire, that's I think that's going to be something up to debate. I at least enjoyed the attempt.
Yeah, let's get into that. What are some of your other positives?
Um, I think that the robot Terminator
Mhm.
is back to being horrific,
Yeah, the
which I'm
action's really cool.
so
The action and the horror are really cool. Yeah.
so glad that they made it scary again. Like that's something that I've felt has been missing from all the Terminator films. Like when T-800 comes into a room, you need to be sweating as a moviegoer. Like it needs to be just as intense
Mhm.
as when Michael Myers comes on screen. You
Mhm.
know,
Mhm.
I still think back to like when I might have been a snobby kid watching T1, but I remember watching that police station
Mhm.
sequence
Mhm.
and going, "Oh my gosh, nobody is safe."
Mhm.
He just walked
Nobody's safe.
into a police station
Yeah.
and nobody could stop him.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I remember thinking, "Oh man, that is brilliant." Now they kind of do that here too, and I think that might have been to a fault.
Yeah.
Like I
Sometimes
don't.
I feel like Terminator Zero. Sometimes it's referencing the originals a little too much. Sometimes it felt almost like remaking the shots, Romulus style
It's
almost.
kind of like Romulus style.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's paying homage here and there, maybe a little too much in different areas, and at the same time inserting some different ideas
Hmm.
into it. Now I got the complaints I do have.
No, no, no. Continue with your positives.
Um, well, fine then. Um, let's see.
I really liked the music. The visuals and the music are really good. I
Oh,
thought.
the music, dude, the music is so good.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
think the score is the first time in a while that reinvents the tone to Terminator kind of,
Yeah.
and like, but works. It works in the context of the story. Like I was like, dude, if you put this in another Terminator film, I would not be mad.
Mm-hmm. It's a
I'd
good
be all
score.
for it.
Yeah.
It's a good score. I think the voice acting is very good.
Yeah. Did you watch
Now
the subs or the dubs?
I watched I watched the English.
Okay.
Mainly because like I get a lot going on,
Sure.
so I wasn't able to just like sit and focus on the words.
I watched the English dub also, but sometimes I switch to the Japanese just to compare.
It was good. It was good. The
I,
dub is good.
I
Yeah.
want to point out in episode 8, there's a very no spoilers. There's a very dramatic scene. Like you know the scene, the most dramatic scene of all of it. There's a very something dramatic happens. You know what I'm talking about, and
Yeah.
people are shocked and screaming, and it goes into silence a little bit. And it was so interesting comparing. It's no spoilers. Um, somebody might die in episode 8. One of the like a character, and when in that moment comparing, it was so interesting because in the moment when there's a death happening in the English version, sorry, in the Japanese version, the guy goes silent. So they stab, and it's just, and you're just living in that silence, and it's so powerful. In the
Oh
English version,
wow.
they stab, and then and it's all these extra sounds. It's like dramatic, but I thought the Japanese version, I felt it more, and then
That was a
also
little better. Yeah.
just kind of different types of acting with it, like more like dramatic screams or more emphasis. So the Japanese version, I felt I actually got more out of it, comparing to the English dub.
I don't think Malcolm Lee is a sympathetic character.
Okay.
I don't think he is. Like
Okay.
I'm just like, I enjoyed the little chit chats that he was having
Yeah, that's one of
with.
my negatives. That I didn't really care about
I didn't
anyone
care.
or anything.
I didn't care about him. I love Masashi.
She's
Masashi.
the one thing I loved about the writing. I loved her story. Yeah.
Masaki's a great character. That was the one thing keeping me involved. The kids are annoying just like they were in T2.
Yeah, I
So
liked
that
them
was
more than I
fitting.
thought. I generally, especially the little kid, because he's the one really
Yeah.
sensible. The older kid's a little bit annoying.
Yeah, but I mean, but that is very Terminator 2.
Sure.
It's not like, I mean, the kid in Edward Furlong,
Hmm.
kind of an annoying character. I mean, I'm just saying,
Okay.
kind of is. It works for the film, but it's like, you know,
Hmm.
maybe kill the kid. I don't know.
Terminator 1. Are there any kids?
No,
And
it's
it's a
just
perfect movie. Maybe lessons can be learned.
it's just Sarah and Kyle Reese.
Uh huh.
Um, but those are the things I enjoyed. I love the score. I
Hmm.
dug the conversations around it. I think it's a complicated film, kind of like Matrix Reloaded, and but I still appreciate it. I appreciate it more than the godforsaken sequels that have been
I
coming
haven't
out.
I haven't even seen them. Maybe someday we. I don't know. Maybe someday. But nope. I've seen T1, T2, T0.
That might be why you're not where I'm at because I've
Okay.
been there.
Okay.
T3
You're
is
one of the
god
people like
awful.
we're climbing up. We can see.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. It's just T3, T4, T5. It is. Oh man,
How many are there?
yeah. They just like sometime after Cameron
Hold on.
left. And,
Let me try to say if I know the title. So there's Terminator, T2 Judgment Day. I want to say maybe there's Terminator 3. Then I think there's like Terminator Dark Force. No, Dark Fate, right? Terminator Dark Fate.
no, no,
Then
not
there's
correct. Okay, yeah,
Genesis,
yeah.
Terminator Genesis. Then there's probably another one I forgot.
Oh, so there's six. There's like
Oh,
six
then
of
there's
them.
Salvation. What, right? Terminator
So then
Salvation.
Terminator Rise of the
Is
Machines.
there a Terminator Resurrection?
No,
No.
no.
Okay.
Terminator Rise of the Machines is number 3.
Is that a real
Uh,
movie?
yeah, Rise
I've
of the
never heard of this.
Machines is
Okay.
number 3.
Okay.
Number
Okay.
3 is Rise of the Machines. Number 4 is Salvation. Number 5 is Genesis. Number 6 is Dark Fate.
Okay.
I'm
It's
telling
all out
you,
of order. Okay.
I'm telling you, as a Terminator fan, we are thirsty right now.
Okay.
And
John,
there's
should I go back and educate myself and watch all these movies?
there are redeemable aspects of Salvation, I think.
Okay.
Like, 'cause, like, it's not a good movie, but like there's sequences that are one take, like one long take. Like there's a gorgeous set piece in Salvation where like you're in a battle
Okay.
and you go up into a helicopter, and then the helicopter crashes, and then a robot like tries to attack John Connor, and it never cuts. It
Cool.
is amazing. Like that, there's moments of awesomeness in that movie. Everything else is all garbage. It's all hot garbage.
All right. Maybe I can
So,
find the clip on YouTube.
yes,
Okay.
yes.
Just out of context.
Now to talk about my negatives here. Talk about my negatives.
I just want to say, for my positives, I have visuals, music, Misaki. That's it. 3.
Gotcha.
That's it.
My negatives are, I think it confuses the crap out of me. What is the point of going back in time if you're just making a new timeline and you're not fixing the timeline that you're on?
Nothing changed. I don't get it. Like, I mean, I'm sure somebody will be able to explain very nicely in the comments. But to me, it just seems like this is the future that the Terminators become. They go back in time, and we lead to the future that the Terminators become.
Yeah.
Thanks.
They explain, like, they go through it in the film, like, they're like, they make a new timeline, and they're like trying to justify it.
Yeah.
But I was like, it did not make sense.
I guess the point is that like it's destiny. Like this is the ending that always had to happen. No matter what choice you make, it all leads to this ending.
Well, if
Maybe.
it's destiny, why even go back? Well,
I don't know.
It's like I don't get it.
I don't get why we needed 4 hours for this. Make it a 20-minute animated. Whoa, or a short movie.
That was the one part where I was like, "That's stupid." Like, why? It's gonna make a new timeline. If you're not on the same timeline, why are you going back to fix anything? You're just gonna go fix a new timeline? Like what? That was the one part where I was like, that kind of like makes no sense. Well, because the whole point is to go back in time to kill John Connor. That way he's never born. That was the whole point. That he was never born in this time period. Ever. That doesn't make any sense if there's a new timeline.
And I feel like in this movie, in this series, you can correct me. Aren't they trying to do something similar? They're trying to go back to stop the guy who created Skynet from creating Skynet. Isn't it kind of the same premise? They're trying to go back in time to stop the guy who like pushes the first domino. It's still the same kind of.
What in Zero?
Yeah.
In Zero, they're trying to stop the guy who created Kudō.
Which leads to Skynet, right?
Well, which leads to a opposite force that's going to hinder Skynet. Like they don't want
to hinder Skynet. Obviously, it doesn't, right?
Well, I mean, like, I do agree, but again, that's where I bring up the whole theory of relativity thing. Is the whole point of their theory of relativity is that everything is all happening at the same time. It's all happening at once.
Yeah.
And it's one of those messed up things that I think about, because if it's real, that really is a thing. That truly means everything's already happened. That, like, we're basically just,
from what, again, I've only seen 1, 2, 0. My understanding is that this movie has time effed itself so much that there's nothing more they can do with it. There's so much time effery. What's the point of anything anymore? Right? The time travel's cool. The time travel's cool until it's just a big knot.
And kind of like the Matrix Reloaded, it doesn't really grapple with the ideas in a side, like it doesn't completely stick the landing on those ideas, because I think it would have been stronger if they were going at the subject of dealing with the fact that you have no control over anything. You have no control over what will happen.
And that is fantastic for like a really kind of a horror premise. Imagine this is a time travel story where you lose every time.
Where you lose every time.
That is a fantastic premise for Terminator.
It's
because
a
that is
great
that's the
idea.
feeling. Like you said, that's the dread that when you fight a Terminator, you lose every time. And this is a bigger, like your fate. You will lose every time.
Every
That
time.
is a dark fate.
Yeah, every time, and then there's no control over anything, and they're so close to actually doing something interesting with that idea, but it just doesn't really come together at the end. It does, and I agree with you on that. I still appreciate that they were trying. Like,
Okay.
because they were trying, because a lot of the other films didn't try anything. Like, it was just
Okay.
like there wasn't anything there. Either there was studio meddling,
Hmm.
or just had a really bad director.
Hmm. Who
Um,
directed the sequels? Do you know?
so I can't remember the guy who did number 3. He had a very interesting finish
Hmm.
for number 3, but the movie sucks. The ending is really good, but the movie sucks. Um, Number 4 was Big G, the guy who did Charlie's Angels, so that should tell you something.
And I think he was supposed to do an Alien 3 at one point. I'm not sure.
McG?
No,
I
I
don't
feel like
know.
he was related to Alien somehow, but I don't remember how. I know. Okay, let's see. Hold on. Terminator, James Cameron. Terminator 2, James Cameron. Terminator 3, Jonathan Mostow.
Yeah,
Terminator
Jonathan
Salvation,
Mattson.
MacG. Terminator Genesis, Alan Taylor.
I went
Like
to where
Game of Thrones
Game of Thrones, Game of Thrones, yes.
and Thor: Dark World. Got
Throw
it.
the Dark World, yeah.
Poor guy.
And then number 6 was the director of
Dark
Deadpool.
Fate. What a strange lineup.
It's a very weird lineup after
What are they
James Cameron.
doing? Because like Alien, you can appreciate. They tried to get like I don't know. I don't know what they tried to do,
Auteurs.
but
They
basically
try to
they
get
did.
they
Yeah.
try to get auteur directors.
Yeah, and this is like
Auteur
a
directors.
weird grab bag of random people.
Yeah,
How do
grab
you how do
at the
you
random people, yeah.
how do you have the Game of Thrones guy next to the Deadpool guy? What are we doing?
Right, right. But that's why I liked it. It at
Uh
least
huh.
tried to do something. You can at least feel a vision there in this story that's trying to come together. It just didn't come together. There's an idea there. I mean, I even like the I always appreciated the ideas of Enos, even though
Hmm.
I think they feel out of place for a
Hmm.
Terminator film. But I at least am like, okay, they're doing something different. They're doing something different here. They're playing with ideas. Um,
I wonder if if they're trying to connect Terminator to our current world, I think they could have done something a little bit more, maybe like smartphones. Like imagine our smartphone technology turning against us. Something like that would be more terrifying, I think, than the Enos turning against us.
well,
It starts with a smartphone. Yeah, yeah. Go on.
That's what James Cameron was saying that he's thinking about
Hmm.
doing with the new one, like making it about what modern day AI, contemporary AI would
Yeah,
do. With the copying your likeness, with
absolutely.
the copying your voice. I mean, like he
Copying
was
your voice
the
is
like
already.
he
Yeah,
was the original one to do that in number
yeah,
1 and 2 for the
absolutely.
voice.
Yeah.
But the likeness, the visual nature put video out there that like you could make society fight itself
Absolutely.
if you
Yeah.
wanted to with modern AI, and that is a really interesting idea for a
There's
new
so
Terminator
much
film.
potential and so many
Yeah,
people, but these are like the conversations we're already having, like just every day talking about, right?
yeah,
What are the
yeah,
potentials of AI warfare, AI political manipulation, right? If you can have a political candidate create an AI video where it looks like the real candidate is doing something terrible, but it's all just created artificially and nobody can tell a difference, right?
right, yeah,
This is like real stuff that is already happening. There are already videos like that. You could
and
destroy civilization.
destroy civilizations, but like give that to a major like give it to Skynet. Like,
Hmm.
dude, I mean that's a really cool idea, and I do hope Cameron does that. But I've still enjoyed it, dude. I think it's like I said, I understand any complaint that
Hmm.
anybody has about this. If you did not like it, you're completely justified in how you
Uh,
feel
I was
and how
surprised
you
because like
feel.
when I started this, like mostly I had seen really positive reviews about it, and they're like, "Whoa, this is the next best So at the end of all this, John, can you tell me, as a Terminator fan, do you put this in the pantheon of T1, T2? Is this the essential watching? Like, would you recommend a trilogy, T1, T2, T0?
I think I would put it in the same category as like Animatrix or something like that.
Okay, so it's like bonus
um,
watching if someone's a fan.
bonus watching. Yeah,
Okay.
I don't think it's required. I don't think it's required. I think T1 and T2 is all you need. Like
Yeah,
T1,
sure.
T2, like if you're into Terminator 2 and never come back, you're fine.
Okay.
If you want to get some bonus material, I think T0 is like, hey, here's a fun little thing that somebody did that have some interesting ideas and concepts and conversations that they were trying to explore.
Mm-hmm.
I don't, you know, it's not a success completely, a complete success, but I still enjoyed it, and I do think, I do think it opens up the inspiration possibly for somebody to take those ideas and maybe make another sequel that doesn't suck.
My
That's all I'm
my
saying.
I just feel a little depressed thinking about more Terminator sequels forever. I don't know. Maybe I'll watch these and like Alien. Maybe I'll appreciate them, like even the bad ones. Because even Alien 4, I appreciate some things. Maybe I should try Terminator, but like it just seems like it's so screwed up with the timelines. I'm just like, what is happening anymore?
Worst case scenario, it will get Cameron back involved, and maybe we'll get the Prometheus version of Terminator. you know?
I also want to mention really quick a nice recommendation if you're looking for science fiction movies about robots. One idea is Mars Express. It came out I think last year or this year, a French movie about robots also. But even better recommendation is called Undone. It's on Amazon Prime. It's 2 seasons. I think
That's a very,
12
very
episodes.
good show.
You seen it? You
Very
seen it
good.
too?
I've seen season one. I've not watched it. Number one is good. Yeah.
Season 2 completes the circle. Season 2 it ends the story really well. Really, I don't want to
Yeah.
spoil anything for you, John, but if you're looking for a really good time travel story with deep philosophy, deep heart, real emotions, and like real meaning on life, and beautiful animation and really good acting,
And that's another
Undone is
kid. That's
fantastic.
another Cameron connection too, because the main actress of that show
Hmm.
was the lead in Battle Angel Alita.
That is right. Wow, wow.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah.
Another
So
Cameron connection.
I recommend everyone, and it's really short too. It's again I think 12 episodes, 20 minutes. It goes fast, and it's a really great story. Really, and there's an ending, definitive ending. It's a great complete story, which we almost never get these days.
Did we even go into spoilers, or do we want to go into spoilers? Just curious.
I talked about someone dying. Are there any other spoilers? There's robots. What is the spoiler?
Oh man. Okay. Okay.
Is there anything you want to add?
Um. I'm trying to think what I would even say. You know, I think if I were going to talk spoilers, and if you haven't seen the film, show the show
Series.
series, if you haven't seen the series, bug off. Let's come back later, and we will educate you.
But what
And
what spoiler?
um,
What is the spoiler?
I dig Misaki as an AI character. I
Yeah,
really love that character. I think honestly that character alone could, like you said, I think is the heart of everything in that show.
she's really the best part. Yeah,
And
especially
should
because
have.
Malcolm Lee is uh, so
He's
unlikable.
not a good
Yeah,
character. He's not likable. He's wanting to kill his kids every 5 minutes. Like it's just
and they
like
tried to make him the center of the show, like his deep philosophical thinking, and I'm like, dude, just don't do this. But Masaki
yeah.
was really good. Yeah,
Masaki's. I think she should have been the main character of the show.
they definitely should have focused more on her story. I don't
I
know how much
think
more meat there is there, but she should have been the focus. Yeah.
I think it would have been interesting if you don't know where the dad is the whole time,
Okay.
and it's revealed. Like you could have condensed that entire conversation into one episode.
So many
Like
conversations. Yeah.
the dad. Like where is he? Where did he go? Is he dead? Is he not
Hmm.
dead?
Hmm.
And then like towards the end, you figure out that he's been locked up,
Hmm.
trying to negotiate life with this thing, and that could have been summarized.
That's an interesting twist for an ending.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Like to me that would have been better. It would have condensed it down, and then you just focus on Misaki and the kids and them trying to survive this nightmare robot for like a few episodes. But it's this back and forth of going into, sometimes the conversation is interesting, sometimes it's not. Sometimes it brings the whole show to a halt and slows it all down.
It's just too much. Yeah, write a book. Publish this as a book.
Yeah, it's too much. I get what they were doing there. I still liked it, but you are correct. It did it messed with the pacing of the show.
Are you interested in season 2? Do you want to watch it? I think you will, whether you want to or not. Okay.
I will watch it. And I do think there are some things they need to improve upon. And they do. But I mean, to me, dude, Terminator has been in such a stale place for so long that they at least got the groundwork to make something interesting going forward.
Yeah.
Even if it's a little bit of a clumsy start, I think
it's not bad. It's not bad.
It's not bad.
For me, I don't feel the same high highs that you feel. I don't think it's bad. I wanted more, especially coming out of T1, T2. Like, I want Terminator at that level, and this is a cool Terminator show. If you like Terminator, but it's just cool. It's just like generic cool, but it's not Terminator.
Let me tell you, if I came off of 1 and 2 and just had no 20 years of terrible sequels, I'd be right there with you.
Okay.
I've gone through the hell of 20 years of bad sequels. 2003, I think, was the first sequel that came out since T2.
You're right. So what is this? 1984, 1991, 2003. 12 years. My God. And then 6 years.
Keep in mind, we got 20 years. 21 years of terrible sequels that everybody has been shoving down their gullet for so long. And now you get something that is not it's not bad. It's not great, but it's not bad. So,
but you don't think the franchise is dead?
I don't think this show is dead. I think the franchise is on life support until Cameron comes back. The movies are dead. I don't think this show is dead. I don't think the show is dead. No.
All right.
I think we have a good jumping off point. Depending on what they do with another season, that won't make or break the entire thing.
Okay. So as we consider this do not resuscitate option, I think that's a good place to leave this now. So thank you guys for watching. If you like this review, be sure to like and subscribe. Leave a comment below. Are you interested in the Terminator franchise? Did you like Terminator Zero? Do you love it? Or are you kind of down on it like us? Let us know in the comments. And please help correct us about the timeline nonsense. Please. I'm really interested in all the time. If somebody can send me a link, maybe explaining all the stuff, I'll read it, I promise. So I'm Vin, and you can find me on Twitter at VinWritesWords.
I am John, and you can find me at John Movie Watch on Twitter.
Be sure to follow thecosmiccircus.com on Twitter at mycosmiccircus, where you can find more reviews, articles, editorials, and opinions like the one you just watched. Thanks, guys, and see you next time. Bye.
Bye.